Welcome to Illuminati Silver. We tell you the truth about silver. Today is Tuesday, the 30th of November, 2021. We're publishing our gold and silver daily update, news and economic data. Gold and silver are down this morning along with equities, as the new Omicron variant spooks markets. So let's take a look. Welcome to Illuminati Silver. It's Tuesday, the 30th of November, 2021, at 9:16 in the morning. The weather today, double D, dull and dreary. Yes, the sky is covered with grey cloud. It's raining, and we hear the blowing wind in the distance, likely to get worse. Dull and dreary, perhaps eventually becoming stormy, who knows? Well, what's also dull and dreary this morning are the equity markets. And why? Because as we can see in the headline, Moderna's concerns about Omicron outlook spark market slump. Let's take a look at that just to start. Moderna Inc.'s top executives reiterated that the Omicron variant's many mutations suggest new vaccines will be needed, triggering a slump in financial markets. The number of mutations on this virus are surprising, co-founder Noubar Fayan said in a Bloomberg television interview. We have to take it for the serious threat that it poses. At a time of uncertainty about Omicron's impact on the pandemic's course and world economies, the comments fueled a new round of concern. Chief Executive Officer Stéphane Bancel, in an interview with the Financial Times, predicted a material drop in the existing shot's efficacy and damped expectations new ones could be ready soon. His definitiveness appeared to spook markets, with stocks in Asia retreating along with US and European index futures and crude oil. And if we take a quick look at the equity markets straight away, we can see that although yesterday the Dow Jones was up 236 points, over 0.5%, and the S&P and Nasdaq well above 1% and almost approaching 2%, we can see that Asia Pacific markets were down on average 1.5%. And now UK and European markets are also down well over 1% and heading towards that 1.5% fall. So there is no doubt at all, that this is spooking certainly the equity markets. We also have this. French inflation hits highest rate in more than a decade. French inflation accelerated in November to the quickest pace in more than a decade, as surging energy and manufactured goods prices offset a fall in fresh food costs. After Germany recorded a 6% surge in prices in the same period, the inflation data for the euro area's second largest economy adds to concerns over the European Central Bank's insistence that the spike in costs for consumers and businesses will prove temporary. While France's rate was lower at 3.4%, it was above economist expectations and the biggest year-on-year increase since, guess when? 2008. The euro area's reading is due later on Tuesday. Add to the fact that we've got rising inflation, we're going to make it worse. There are, when one learns economics at university, you're taught, right at the start, two main types of inflation. The one is demand pull, in other words, where demand exceeds supply, and the other is cost push. And part of cost push inflation, where costs are pushing prices up, is wage inflation. And half of UK companies plan to raise prices to offset higher wages. Half of UK's businesses expect to increase their prices in response to rising wage costs and supply chain difficulties. That's according to a survey by Lloyds Bank, which said that the acute shortages of workers persisted into November. It showed that a quarter of companies expect to increase wages by 3% or more in the next year in an effort to retain and attract workers. The findings are likely to fuel expectations. The Bank of England will raise interest rates as early as next month. Inflation is already running at double the 2% target, largely due to surging energy prices. Policymakers fear that higher prices could spread across the economy if left unchecked. Well, we could be facing now higher prices when demand could actually be adversely affected anyway because of this new Omicron virus variant. Moderna's CEO warns COVID-19 shots less effective against Omicron. Spooks markets. And we look at the BBC. We've had 20 cancellations in one weekend. As worries emerge over a new COVID variant, hospitality fears it could thwart the busiest time of year. Shopkeepers are concerned about enforcing mask wearing and fear they'll have to close again. Mandatory masks, we worry people won't come in. EasyJet, one of our cheapest airlines, says Omicron has weakened bookings. This is building a picture. In the US, Biden, Omicron lockdown not needed for now. At least he's trying to dampen the fear. And we shall see how that pans out. And slightly on the business and political news, Jack Dorsey has now stood down as the CEO of Twitter. Some crypto fans believe he's going to be focusing not only on his Square business, but on the acquisition of Bitcoin. And a little bit for those who get titillated by gossip within the political infrastructure, former Pentagon chief Mark Esper sues the Pentagon because he has written a book, he wants it released, and the Pentagon and associates are demanding considerable retractions. We wonder what gossip is in there. But perhaps more important than gossip is what's actually happening financially. And we can see that the dollar is actually down half or 0.52 on the index at 95.8, still holding up well above what was a sort of pivotal point of 95 and reached 96 and almost touched 97. Still holding strong, but it has fallen over the last 48 hours. And energy prices also down, which is a little surprising, bearing in mind that the dollar has fallen. And thank goodness, though, because it helps the economic infrastructure with both Brent crude and WTI crude down just over $2. I've shown you the stocks, the economic news. Yesterday, the good news. Pending home sales have increased to 7.5% for October compared with minus 2.4 in the previous month and against expectations of 0.7. There were various remarks by Fed President and governors. We won't go into those now, but today we can say the two pieces of important information really is the Chicago PMI for November, and more important than that, arguably, the Consumer Confidence Index, also for November. Now, one would have thought that with equity markets falling, with the dollar value falling, with oil prices falling, we would see a nice little spurt in gold and silver. Well, we haven't. Gold is actually down $6 over the last 24 hours. And although it almost touched $1,800 today, it's currently residing at $1,792. Now, if we compare that with Friday's close, we can see it closed at $1,793. Oh, I've just refreshed the page. Gold is now $1,795. So it's $2 higher than the Friday close, but still down $4 for the day. Silver hasn't fared so well. And I'm going to refresh the page now because that will have changed. Look at this. Silver's down 42 cents at 22.96. That's down 1.8%. It's been as low as 22.77 and as high as 23.39. Why? Industrial demand likely to be severely affected if we go into lockdown and there is a world economic slowdown. We've mentioned this time and time again. Ignore the people telling you silver's going to the moon. It'll go to the moon when we have certainty that the economy is growing, will continue to grow, and that growth will not be adversely affected. Cryptocurrency markets, interestingly, over the last 24 hours have actually gone up 0.3% at 2.58 trillion market cap, albeit Bitcoin currently is down today, but it was up yesterday. That's it for now. Just a reminder, please listen to the videos we produce each day. We will not be producing one tomorrow morning or Thursday morning or Friday morning, but we will produce them on Wednesday evening and Thursday evening. We won't produce a video on Friday. It's quite possible we might actually produce one tonight. So if you haven't done so, do press the bell sign and subscribe, of course, just so that you're notified should we produce a video this evening, because there's some interesting stories coming up later today that if we get time we will report on. Now, I won't swear we're definitely going to do it, but just keep an eye out, press the bell sign, and you'll be notified the minute it goes up. And if it does go up, it will be around 6 p.m. That's GMT time. If you don't hear anything by then there won't be a video. Thank you so much for listening. Until tomorrow evening or this evening, have a great day. Illuminati silver owners come from a background of banking, international wealth management and economics. Having now retired from these worlds, we are not qualified to give investment advice. Therefore, this and other productions must not be deemed to be giving such advice and merely represent the personal views of its owners.